guys, I'm back again. On my release date for A Death in Tassie, which is a book where we go from the Robin's Nest Inn to Tasmania to visit our MMC's home country. I had planned to do a live and read the prologue or chapter 1 or what have you, but I moved to Australia almost 3 years ago, and so I don't have my coverage for my glasses like I used to. And it's very hard for me to see anything out of them because all the coating that was put on is starting to mottle and wear off. And my new glasses got delayed and it's a whole big mess. But I'm going to try and we shall see how this goes. Let's read. I don't think I want to do chapter 1. I think I'll do the prologue for you so you can see how it all began. Somewhere along the concourse of the international terminal at LAX, a flight was being announced. Kids were playing tag near the charging station where their parents charged their phones, and people were rushing around and yelling to each other. The sound of wheels rolling on the tile floors echoed throughout, almost the loudest of all the noises. Laurelyn Robbins sat next to her fiancé on one side and her ex-husband on the other. Now, a note here. Her ex-husband is the local town cop, the bumbling cop. It's one of my favorite tropes for cozy mystery. So, anyway, back to what I was saying. Her two daughters and their stepmother and stepbrother were across the way getting snacks for the group. I feel like we've already been traveling for ages. The last word was said during a yawn. Most of that was layovers, her fiancé Devin said with a yawn of his own. But this next flight will be a long one. We'll have a good dinner and then settle into sleep. Good, Miles Robbins winced and rubbed the back of his neck. I forgot how tiring long travel days could feel. Laurelyn looked at her ex and rolled her eyes. The longest travel day we ever had when we were married was maybe 10 hours. This one will be 25 hours. Don't remind me, he groaned. I'm looking forward to this trip. I just wish we could teleport there. Wouldn't that be nice, just to be able to teleport wherever you want to go? That would be absolutely perfect. He wasn't the only one. Devin had made the trip just a few months before when he'd moved to America from Australia to help his best friend, Laurelyn, open the Robin's Nest Inn in Elk River, Wyoming. And now they were headed back to Australia so he could meet the grandmother he'd never seen. His father and brother had left the day before to make sure things were ready for their arrival. They were all recovering from a murder that had happened at the inn just weeks before. Everyone had worked together to solve it. Miles was the lead detective and Laurelyn was an amateur sleuth who had roped Devin into helping her. Well, she had roped him into helping her with the first case several months previously. He'd gladly helped her this time. He'd come to America to an almost scandalously older best friend and dreams of helping her run the inn. Now, months later, he was returning temporarily to his home country with a much older fiancée and hopes that he wouldn't have to help solve another murder for a long time. If you haven't read book number 2, Promoted and Dead, you probably didn't know they are now engaged, scandalously. So, when's the wedding, Mama? Heather Robbins asked as she sat down across from her mother. She had once been Devin's friend, but when they realized there was no romantic interest, they cut back on their contact. He'd become friends with the whole family and kept up with Laurelyn, and that's where the first scandalous part came into play. The second part was when they'd fallen for each other romantically. It should have been awkward for Heather, but it wasn't. She said she loved seeing these two people that she adored so happy. Oh dear, Laurelyn said with a chuckle, I have no idea. Devin wasn't even going to ask me until we got to Tasmania, so we haven't talked about it yet. Yeah, I really don't know either, Devin piped up. I guess I hadn't thought that far ahead. Well, Hannah Robbins Buchanan said, directing her look at her mother, you should probably start thinking about it. Do you want it to be in Wyoming at the inn, or do you want it to be in Tasmania with Devin's whole extended family? Laurelyn looked at her youngest daughter with a pained expression. That's going to be a hard choice. Harder than you could imagine, Devin agreed. I guess we will have to start talking about it. I hope no one gets murdered at the reception, Miles mumbled. nearly under his breath. Miles James Robbins, his wife Meredith exclaimed. Don't you dare go jinxing their wedding. She looked over at Laurelyn. Don't listen to him. Your wedding will be perfect. Thanks, Laurelyn said with a smile plastered on her face. She felt no joy, however. All she could think of was a dead body being discovered at her reception. Knowing her luck, it would be someone she hated, and she'd be the prime suspect. So, Devon said, trying to break the tension that had built in the group, I think we should try to find the nearest restroom. We still have 3 hours until our flight leaves. Sorry, it's really hard to read, guys. Laurelyn was having a hard time staying awake. She kept feeling herself dozing on Devon's shoulder, but she kept startling herself awake. It shouldn't have been too hard. The chairs at the gate were so uncomfortable. But a murder and a long day of traveling had taken their toll on her. How could someone in his mid-20s like Devon ever want to be with an old lady like her? She was about to ask him when he rested his cheek on top of her head and spoke. Hey, we're about to board. Make sure everything is in your bag and it's zipped up. Thank goodness they could get on the plane where it would be more comfortable and hopefully fall asleep soon. She wouldn't be surprised if she slept for the entire 14-and-a-half-hour flight to Melbourne. But then she remembered that she rarely slept on flights. And I got that for me because it's hard for me to sleep on flights. My flight over here, I actually did sleep a little bit, but it was hard. Let's see, where was I? But then she remembered that she rarely slept fully on flights. Are you sure you want to marry me? She asked Devon as they walked down the ramp on the plane. I'm already exhausted and it's just going to be worse when we get there. You're not the only one who is exhausted, sweetheart, he said with a little laugh. I just hide it better. I'm hoping to doze the whole flight so I can feel somewhat rested by the time we get home. Really? She gave him a skeptical look. I mean, you look so wide awake. Well, I'm not. He took her bag from her and put it in the overhead bin with his. We've had a hell of a couple of weeks. I think we will need to sleep for a few days once we get to Tasmania. If you say so, she said with another yawn. She did believe him. A good 24 hours of sleep would be the best thing in the world at that point, but she knew they probably wouldn't get anywhere near that. Not only were they flying, which kept her partially awake, but she was so damn excited to see where the man she loves had grown up. And that is the prologue for A Death in Tassie, which is the latest release. It came out February 19th. It's available everywhere, and I hope you pick up a copy and enjoy. Until next time, thanks.